Hey guys, because of the fact that today is Father's Day and the other day was President Trump's birthday, today we're actually going to be reacting to Trump's interview with Logan Paul. Now, Logan Paul has been around for a long time now. I used to watch Logan Paul every single day when he used to upload when I was a kid. I saw a couple clips of this, and it's very funny because of the fact that President Trump actually started asking Logan Paul questions. So is it funny to see the interviewee start asking the interviewer questions? But without further ado, let's just dig right into it.
Biden is just so bad. He's the worst president in the history of our country.
You should make a diss track on him.
Yeah, we'll do something.
Do you think that you're starting to soften your views on some of the networks that you may have not gotten along with in the past?
No, they're fake news.
He had a street fight this past week.
And how did it work out?
How you think?
You know, it's so funny that he says, oh, you should release a diss track on him and then see what happens from there. Well, technically he did, because just the other day, Trump released just a compilation of all of Joe Biden's mistakes and stuff like that, but it's just Joe Biden's senile events.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping.
I think he probably did pretty good. I've watched enough of you fighting.
Unidentified aerial phenomena in the sky. We don't know what they are. Do you?
It's very possible. Really powerful stuff. They made a commercial, me promoting a product, and it wasn't me. And I said, did I make that commercial?
Rat beefs. Big rat beef just happened. Drake or Kendrick?
You know, it would actually be really funny if, if Trump picked the side when the Drake/Kendrick thing came out. Like, I had no idea about that. My sister had to explain it to me, and then when she explained it to me, I'm like, this is just stupid. So it would be funny if Trump actually made an official statement on that. It would just be so stupid.
This is going to be great.
I think so too.
Looking forward to this all my life. My whole life. Anyway, hi fellas, how you doing?
How are you, boss?
How's your brother? Good?
Yeah, he's excellent.
You have a good relationship with him, right?
With Jake?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do now. But it's not always been like that.
It's always been, yeah, I can imagine.
He's my brother. Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
Taylor Tyson, we got.
Yeah, right?
Who you got?
When is that gonna be?
November. It got rescheduled.
Well, look, Mike was fantastic, but you know, Mike's a little older now.
Yeah.
And you guys can fight.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that, but you guys can really fight, legitimately fight.
Thank you, sir.
At first I said, it's so amazing because I always thought like a UFC guy or a top, even contender would be able to win at 75 years old.
You think?
But
You know,
it doesn't work that
it's
way.
actually funny that Trump has an
Democracy.
opinion on stuff like this, and Trump has been following along. So it's interesting to see his thought process on things like this, because he's been following along, even though you think, oh, no, he's too important to follow things like this. No, he's actually following stuff like this, so that's amazing to me.
Yeah. I figured that out with Floyd as well.
Yeah, how about that, right?
I don't know.
I mean, it was even.
Yeah, which
You would
shouldn't
have
make...
thought he would have won that fight.
That's what I thought.
That was your baby.
Yeah.
Some
right?
people still think he did win
This
that
is for you
fight.
guys.
Oh, no way. We got gifts.
Oh, nice. So for a lot of money, this thing.
Oh, no way. Oh, thank you, President.
You split it up. Here's
Oh, amazing.
something we have for you. This is
Is this your
You know,
mugshot?
Can you believe?
See, he just realized that Trump puts his mugshot on merch and stuff like that. It's a very good ploy. Trump actually does this stuff. And of course, the mugshot came out a few months ago. Mugshot is a indication of what the system is trying to do to Trump. And he's standing up for the American citizen, the regular person like me and you. Regular person that just wants to live their normal life, and the big government is trying to get in the way of it. That's the aspect that Trump is running on.
You're a gangster.
This is what we're reduced to.
No way.
Should we put him on now?
And it's funny that he says that he was reduced to doing that, which is so true because of the fact that the liberal elites are putting Trump in a position that he has to do stuff like that. He has to fundraise for himself and do stuff for himself to pay the bonds and pay the bills that the liberals are putting on Trump.
That's
crazy.
That's
And
amazing.
it sells. Well, Elvis had one. Frank Sinatra had one.
This shirt?
But we've eclipsed them. A long time ago, we've eclipsed them.
This is crazy.
It's pretty cool. Isn't it cool?
I have to be honest, I'm just...
You know, it's funny because he says, "Oh, Frank Sinatra had one. All these other people had one." No, not his shirt. Their own version of the shirt. That's what he means when he says they had one back then. Frank Sinatra had one, stuff like that. They had their own version of the shirt because they were incarcerated and prosecuted back then also.
Actually, I'm not sure if I love it or not, but
No, it's
it
good.
is what it is.
It happened, and might as well monetize it.
Well, Mr. President, people surely love it. They love the picture. They rallied behind it. They're rallying behind you now.
Well, they
More
are.
than ever.
And we had the biggest fundraising I think ever for any candidate ever anywhere in the world in the last 8 or 9 days. Hundreds of millions of dollars, and too bad it couldn't have been done for other reasons. But they viewed the case as being so corrupt and so ridiculous. Every one of the legal pundits, and they're great guys. When you look at Dershowitz, the whole group, that whole group of people, Andy McCarthy, Jonathan Turley, Greg Jarrett, every one of them, they came out and they said, "There's not even a case here.
No.
There's no case." And when
No, of course, and that's 100% true too. Because if you look at the court cases that he's in, the New York case, what did he even get charged on? Still, nobody knows because of the fact that 3 different groups of different jurors came to different conclusions onto what Trump did. A set of people say a certain thing, another set of people say another thing, another set of people say another thing. And then another one person says, "Oh, well, do you think that he jaywalked in the year 1998? Do you think that he did that? Okay, then he's guilty in this case." No, it has nothing to do with the case at hand. But if they thought that he was guilty on anything, then you can say that he's guilty on this case. That's not how the court of law works. It's not guilty without a reasonable doubt. That's not how this court system works. If you were to do something like a guilty without a reasonable doubt, then you will never be prosecuting the former president of the United States on a sham scam case like this case right here. It really is a scam.
jury instructions when they saw all the things that happened. And it's not like anybody's a friend of mine. Mark Levin is an example. They couldn't believe it. So unfair. It's a very unfair thing. And because of that, the fundraising numbers and the polls, but the fundraising, that's sort of like a poll anyway, right? When you get right down to it. But the fundraising numbers went, I don't think there's ever been that much money raised that quickly.
You've become a martyr of
Hundreds
sorts.
of millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's insane. $140 million in May that you raised.
$35 million in just hours after the verdict.
Yeah, 58 million within a few hours. And that was in small donations, like $71 something average. And over a period of a week, we even went to San Francisco. Now, not supposed to be, that's the belly of the beast, right?
Rare visit.
But they had thousands of people on the street. It was so positive, and they raised $12 million. The tech guys at one of the houses, David, fantastic people, and they were like, they gave me a lot of money. They've never been into doing that. And I think it helps that Biden is just so bad. He is so bad. He is the worst president.
He is. He really is, because of the fact that all of our world is collapsing around us. Our world is on fire. Our economy is on fire. Our United States dollar is at record highs. Just in the last, 4 years alone, we saw an increase of about 10% every single year on goods and services. You can't even afford a house unless you have a $150,000 down payment, unless you have all of this money. There was a recent finding on this front that said all of the utilities, all of the housing costs, the insurance costs, everything is up. So the average payer of a house has to pay about 40% to 50% more for a house and upkeeping of a house than they did have to do 4 years ago. And that's so crazy that within 4 years' time, we saw an increase of this much in this little amount of time. We saw this increase. It's crazy because of the fact that we decided to print money. We decided to go and continue the spending at record levels. That is not sustainable. We decided to keep the interest rates at record lows for way too long, and then we decided to then put them up. And then as soon as we put them up, obviously it was too late. So now, of course, it's not going to do as good as it could have been if we decided to do it early on. And that's a sad thing because Joe Biden is a failure of a president that we have at the moment. And it's crazy that Logan Paul invited Joe Biden onto the podcast, but Joe Biden would never do a podcast of this length without any anything at all. He's not going to have any moderator. He's just going to be him, Logan Paul, and Logan Paul's producer. That's it. Joe Biden could never do something like this. Trump can. This shows that Trump is actually mentally competent to actually sit here for a podcast, just like a Vivek Ramaswamy level, just like a eye-to-eye contact, having a update, sitting here for hours and hours on end, talking about policy, talking about legislation that he wants to include, because that's crazy that we don't have this front anymore when it comes to our presidents. And like I was saying the other day, when we see debates are not exactly the thing that we need in America, because of the fact that debates are something that is so heavily planned on that you have a 30-minute segment for a policy that you want to introduce, a 1 minute introduction to the policy, a minute and 30 seconds, and that's it. You have that minute 30 seconds, you have quick combat, that's it. It's not a sit down for 4 hours like a Joe Rogan style thing. That would be crazy if we were to have that. We have Joe Biden on one side, Trump on the other side. We have Joe Rogan on one side, and then we have a CNN host that is friendly to Joe Biden on the other side. And then we have this 4-hour podcast to listen to exactly the difference between Joe Biden, between Trump.
They were like, they gave me a lot of money. They've never been into doing that. And I think it helps that Biden is just so bad. He is so...
You know, it's funny that he says, oh, well, the people have been never really that fond of giving me money and stuff like that because of the fact that the elites are always on the offense and stuff like that. And the people have always trusted the mainstream media. And when the mainstream media attacks somebody, then that's who the general population just stays away from. And it's very interesting because that was another monumental change in the course of public perception. So COVID was the first real waking up call for a lot of people. It was a big wake up call for me. And then when it went onto the aspect of arresting our former president of America simply for being the president of America, then that was a big fat wake up call for a lot of Americans. And then when it goes onto the aspect of people actually doing things about it, then it is so much easier being done because of the fact that you can see it right in front of your face being done to the former president of America, to the Americans that are being prosecuted from January 6th, to all of the other people that have watched Joe Biden's presidency. And this was the final wake-up call for a lot of people. So the Democrats, he had made a huge, huge mistake by prosecuting a former president, because that's making him, yet again, even more popular. On the Democrats' biggest fundraising day, which was on the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the Democrats did not even get anything close to what Trump fundraised. And that is a big, big achievement for the Republican Party, because this is showing that the tide is changing.
He is the worst president in the history of our country. So that helps too.
You should make a diss track on him.
Yeah, we'll do something. Yeah. We'll do something.
I actually wanted to start there.
Go ahead.
Because one thing that I just can't seem to wrap my head around it is, you got these felony convictions and a lot of it, like more than Al Capone, right? And there was an uprising and people showed you their support with their donations. And a lot of people are saying it points out that actually the unjust nature of America's justice system. So my question is, like, if that is your belief, if that is their belief, why do you have the desire to give your time and energy to a country or a system that's trying to take you down?
You know, that's actually a very fair question, because of the fact that this could also be said in the aspect of the 2020 election. If you think that the rules have changed unjustly to benefit your opponent, why are you running again? Why do you think that this election is more superior than the 2020 election? And what's to stop the Democrats from stealing the election this time? If they did it in 2020, YouTube, don't ban me for saying that. The answer would be, listen, there's a lot of questions that happened in the 2020 election, and we went through the court system to find out all of those things. Because of the fact that it went through the court system, and we showed our evidence and they showed their evidence, we thought that after the evidence was shown that we tightened up some of our rules. We're going to work closely with the Arizona state governors. We're going to work closely with all of the other governors and all of the other election in officials in those areas that we had some questions with to make sure that their rules are more tightened. We're not going to have mail-in ballots. We're going to have more on-day voting, and we're going to make sure that if people really can't make it, we want voter turnout to be record highs. So if you do need to mail in your ballot, do it a month ahead. If you do need to get absentee ballots, do that a month ahead. Make sure that all of the rules and stuff like that have been questioned in the past, we tighten up. So now we don't have questions about the election that's coming up. We have more reliance on our officials that are going to make sure that our elections are as tightly held as we possibly can, and we're going to make sure that we're the exemplar for the rest of the world. That's what the answer to that question would be.
I ran twice. I did much better the second time than the first time. And if I didn't, I wouldn't have done this. But we had it going like this country has never been going before. It was really good. Now it's really bad. The worst border in history, the worst inflation, I think, in history. I think the history of the country, the people are getting decimated by it. All very all something you can fix. You can fix it fast. We were energy independent. We're going to be energy dominant very soon. All these things were happening. And then we had a terrible result in an election. And what happened was disgraceful, and we can't ever let it happen again. But, we have a little expression, it's right on that hat, make America great again. And we can do that, make America great again. And this guy's not going to do it. This guy's destroyed our country. When you allow 15, 16, 17, they have no idea where the gotaways. Million people coming out of jails, coming out of mental institutions, insane asylum. The insane asylums all over the world, the mental institutions, they're at the lowest levels. They've been at it for years. They're going to be totally empty. And you have terrorists coming into our country. We're going to be paying a big price, and we're going to solve the problem, and we're going to solve it relatively quickly. But we have other problems, too, with energy, with inflation. He's been a disaster as a president. He's the worst president we've ever had. The good news is he makes Jimmy Carter look brilliant by comparison. Yeah. So Jimmy Carter's the only one that's happy with this.
Which is very true because of the fact that the liberal narrative and the liberal elites have gone from the moderate, the Jimmy Carter type, the people that are actual liberals like the Bill Clinton type liberals and stuff like that, to all the way leftist like Joe Biden. And that slow process that this happened started with Obama, and then it ended with Joe Biden on all the way to the left. And then you think that you can't get any more possibly more leftist than this, but then we see Bernie Sanders out here, AOC, we see Rashida Tlaib, we see all of these people that are just insane in the leftist sphere, and then you're like, what the hell's going on? And then you see people like John Fetterman that started out as a huge leftist, and then they had brain problems, but then as the brain problems that John Fetterman he had a brain problem when he was running, and he was a very big leftist. And then as his brain problem got better and better, and he started, getting better from that disorder and the condition that he had, he started becoming more of a right-wing person. Not really a right-wing person, but more of a left-leaning person, more of a liberal. But the thing is, the liberalism does, in fact, lead to leftism. So you can say that, oh, well, liberalism is different than leftism. I don't really think so. I think it's the same thing. I think that liberalism is just a little bit more close than leftism, but leftism is where liberalism is going to end off if you continue down that path. And yeah, you can say that there is a difference between today's Democrats and the Democrats that we have 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Of course, that is. But the thing is, that's what it led to. And that's what it would always lead down, because the path was still the same. The path was still paved in the same exact direction that the liberals are heading towards today. That's the biggest problem here.
A lot of people are so obsessed with you, Mr. Trump, Mr. President Trump. Well, because you're already a billionaire, right? You are essentially serving these people, and you don't have to be doing it. The president,
No.
Being the president seems like a very hard job. You were at 3 meetings just before this.
Sure.
But I guess I'm asking, like, the desire to run an attempt to improve your country for these things you're saying.
Yeah.
It comes from what? Just the love of the
Well,
country?
the people, I'll tell you, when you look at the people, when you look at the crowds, I did a rally in New Jersey. We had 107,000 people there. You saw that last week. We did one in the Bronx. We had 25,000 people. And this was in the South Bronx, which is known as a rough area. And it was like a love fest. There was not even nobody even raised a voice of dissent. The whole place, it was like a big love fest. Nobody could believe it. You saw that 3-4 weeks ago. There's our country has tremendous potential, but it's going down the tubes very, very rapidly. Nobody has ever seen anything like it, the way it's being run. So bad. And we can change it. We can change it quickly. We have a debate coming up. That'll be interesting.
Yeah,
June
that will.
27th, hosted by one of your favorite television networks, CNN.
The Clinton News Network itself, the Clown News Network itself. There's a lot of different acronyms that CNN stands for, but the thing is, the liberal elites wanted this debate to be held on CNN because of the fact that they can control the narrative, they can control the moderator, stuff like that. But then Trump did say, listen, you get your own moderator, let's just debate. Now, of course, the moderator is going to be horrible. That's why we're going to live stream this here at Ridgeo Studios on Twitter/X, and we're going to be live streaming it on YouTube at the same exact time. I'm going to be live fact-checking Joe Biden's quote-unquote narrative. I'm going to be fact-checking the moderator if the moderator wants to quote-unquote fact-check, which is not fact-check, but opinion check President Trump. And I will do that in live time because of the fact that the liberals think that they have the upper hand by going on CNN. No. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be replicating that stream, and we're going to be streaming it on our own platforms because of the fact that CNN is going to try to frame it in a way that is not the truth. And of course, they tried to do this with the Trump rally that they held by having all Republicans there for some reason with Trump, and then Trump just pulled out a card and said exactly what he did for the exact time frames that he did it on January 6th. And then the host, which I forget what her name is, on CNN was just dumbfounded. She just didn't even know what to do. And then CNN had to come out and apologize for that because of the fact that if they cannot control the narrative, then they get all scared. They start crying. They have to come out and apologize. They have Anderson Cooper taking off his glasses and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Oh, so of course, CNN in the viewers itself just get so scared, just get so sad. They start crying if you tell them the truth because they're all babies. But the thing is, you need to look at the truth to actually set yourself free. You need to look at the truth to actually know what's going on in this country, because then you can't have a flourishing, you can't have any conversation whatsoever if you don't know what's actually going on. That's the interesting aspect of this.
Well, they gave me the option. They said, would you do it? And they didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. So they gave me everything. Fake Tapper and
Fake Tapper.
Lots of other people that were gonna, were involved. On CNN, they wanted it to be seated, which I didn't like. I said we should stand, and I think we won that point. But I would have agreed to whatever I had to agree to because they didn't want to do it. They thought that I wouldn't do it because it's CNN, but I've done plenty of CNN. I did a town hall.
Yeah.
Not so long ago with CNN that worked out well.
Yeah, it did. The town hall, that's exactly what I was just talking about. Oh, that was so funny. Because the town hall, he just dominated the town hall. And it's funny because if they did have a sitting down debate with Joe Biden versus Trump, Joe Biden would just be like, "Oh, so what's going on, guys? No, you're lying. You're lying about my son." And then Trump is like, "No, I'm not. This is exactly what just happened." So it'd be very funny to see them actually stand up because of the fact that we can see Sleepy Joe start to fall asleep on stage. But he's not going to fall asleep. They're going to probably try to give him all of the caffeine that they possibly can before the debate because they don't want this to be a big embarrassment farther for Joe Biden than it already is. Because it's going to be this is going to be huge. This is going to be crazy, though.
And I think they'll be fair. I think they're going to try and be fair. I mean, as fair as they can be. But I think it's important for there to be a debate.
Yes.
So
100%.
They said, "You want to debate?" "Yep, I'll accept. You don't even have to tell me." Then they said CNN. They said the different people that are involved. But let's see what happens. I used to get along with Jake Tapper. We'll see what happens. But it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, it is.
That sentiment that CNN might be fair to you,
they might be,
is a bit of a departure.
I'd
from
say
your
a good
normal
10% chance
from your normal hardline stance. Do you think that you're starting to come around or soften your views on some of the networks that you may have not gotten along with in the past?
No,
It's fake news, but the thing is, you have to actually go with what you have in your arsenal. If all you have is CNN or nothing, you have to go with CNN. It's not like Joe Biden is going to go and accept a debate on Fox News or Newsmax or OANN. He's not going to go and do that. So it's either CNN or MSNBC. Choose your poison. CNN is obviously better than MSNBC because MSNBC is off the rails. CNN is a little bit more moderated on its rails. But the thing is, they're still on the same exact path towards self-destruction. But the thing is, obviously, he's not doing this because he wants to go on CNN. He's doing it because he has no other choice. That's what people need to understand here. He doesn't have a choice. It's either that or nothing. And you want the debate with Joe Biden. You want to get in there and show the people exactly how Joe Biden is with a person that is actually competent and will show him exactly what the American people are believing and thinking at this very moment. Because Joe Biden does not normally go into atmospheres that is not so kind to him, especially now, recently, because he has just lost his mind. It's sad seeing the president like that, but it's the truth of the world. Joe Biden is senile and losing his mind. Trump is not. Trump is on a 1 hour and 10-minute podcast with Logan Paul. Trump is multiple times a week on different podcast shows saying what he thinks, saying what his policy is, and standing up and having rallies all over the country. Joe Biden's not doing any of this. He has a rally and maybe 20 people show up, and then you see like a whole entire motorcade of 5 people for Joe Biden. They're like, yeah, the Joe Biden motorcade is here. It's 5 people. Whoa. And then we have a whole entire trucker line full of people full of Trump supporters going coast to coast in trucks. That's what Trump has compared to the 5 people that Joe Biden has in his motorcade. It's not the same whatsoever. The support is unfathomable for Trump, but then it is not at all anything on the aspect of Joe Biden.
So bad. One of the good terms, right? Fake news. But no, I don't think so. I thought maybe, I had one with Caitlin Collins.
Yep.
About 4 or 5 months ago. It was one of the highest rated shows they've ever had.
I know.
And I really thought they were going to go maybe sort of in the middle. But I was wrong about, as I'm getting on and I'm hearing the way I'm being announced, they said, hey, these people are playing hardball. They're making a big mistake, but the ratings for this debate, I guess, will be quite good.
Oh, yeah.
Massive. Are you surprised by his decision to face-to-face with you?
You mean the fact that they're willing to do it?
That Biden's willing
a little
to do
bit. They didn't want to do it. They thought I turned CNN down. Look, CNN is the enemy. And they thought I was going to turn CNN, and Tapper is, one of the guys that, when I'm making a speech, so they're waiting for the nomination for months and months. I got it in the quickest fashion. Nobody's ever gotten a nomination so quickly. And I'm making my nomination speech, and they refuse to put it. They're covering it for months and months. Now I'm actually making my speech. This is the big night. I won the nomination, and they refuse to put it on. These are people that don't like Trump. But it's okay, because I think it's important to have a debate, or a number of debates, actually.
Yeah, of course, because of the fact that CNN is going to have it on their aspect, but then if it's unfiltered and they cannot control the media landscape, then they just don't want to cover it at all because they can't control the narrative. That's the most important thing to remember on CNN. They're never going to show this debate whatsoever again until they can actually clip Trump out of context again. That's what they're going to use this debate for. They're not going to use the debate to show it in full context and show Trump in a good light. No, they're going to show Joe Biden in a good light, and they're going to take the one time that Trump has a fault on, and then they're going to nitpick it and then continuously try to make fun of him for it.
That you are so vocal as well, especially on social media, I think works in your favor. And personally, I like that you come with receipts sometimes.
Yeah.
I've seen you pull them out of your,
I understand.
your jacket. Will you have receipts?
I like to do it.
Well, fact checking's fun.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna check a lot of things. It's going to be an interesting. You will be watching, right?
I'll be watching.
We just don't want to schedule it around one of your fights.
Please don't. Please don't.
You do pretty well.
Thanks. I'll be watching. Yeah, I always see you at
So
UFC.
do you have? By the way, do you ever fight your brother?
That's the question.
You want to know something?
I want to know.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
because you're both.
See, it's funny that Trump is actually asking Logan Paul questions here. It's like, okay, Logan Paul is like, okay, I have a question for you. You keep coming to UFC, and Trump's like, oh, hold on, I have a question for you. You answer my question. And it's funny because I saw this one clip on X, and a lot of people are like, what do you expect if the boss shows up? The boss is going to be asking you questions. Of course, Trump dominates, and as soon as he goes into a room, he's the dominate. He takes control immediately. He knows exactly what to do because he's been a boss all of his life. He knows exactly how to gain control of the spear. He knows exactly how to demand respect because he's actually a good guy. You can tell that he's a genuine guy. You can tell that he knows what he's doing. You can tell that he's very knowledgeable in the things that he talks about. So there's no reason whatsoever to doubt what he's gonna say at all.
You are both good. Do you ever fight him?
Thank you. I not in real life.
You
no.
practiced a little bit
Never.
with him, right?
We've never even sparred.
Really?
We don't know. I think
Well, did you beat him up your whole life?
I
growing
didn't.
up?
I punched him in the face once because he took my glasses. But I was willing to step in for Mike Tyson when Tyson got sick and had to postpone his fight. And we actually like ran it up the chain at Netflix.
It's hard for brothers to fight, though. I think it's hard.
Not on
I've seen it
Netflix
over
for
the
a
years,
big
you know.
old bag. Like
Yeah,
figure
there
it
have
out
been
once
some,
and for
though.
all.
I think it's, you don't think so?
A big old bag, yeah. If you're gonna get paid for it, why not do it? Of course.
Love you, brother.
Well, me and Jake decided that obviously, like, we both come from a place of love, and whatever the outcome would be, we'd have to be okay with it. But obviously, I love my
No, but
brother.
the shots to the face and, you know.
Just one time though, for the rest of history, you know, that night goes down forever.
Yeah.
The Klitschko brothers never did it.
No, they never did it. And they were both good, and they
Yeah.
never did it. They were very good. But in fact, nobody really figured out maybe who was better. They had some good fights. They were tough, right?
Yeah.
They
Well,
were tough.
Jake's tough and he's good, but I'm 1-0.
He's very good, and you're very good.
Thanks.
He had a street fight this past week against somebody from a squad you may know as the
tell me.
Nelk from the Nelk Boys.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
When you
one-
said you had it out with them?
An actual street fight.
No,
A fit-
but a friendly one or an unfriendly one?
Oh, it was pretty unfriendly.
Yeah,
I
it
was
not
there.
friendly. I would call it a waiver fight. I had
They
to
have
set
a
up.
great following, though. They're nice guys.
We love them.
They have such a.
Okay, so that's actually funny though, because I did not hear about this whatsoever. It's not that I'm really keyed in this aspect. I'm not really a UFC fighter, watcher, and stuff like that. But that's interesting. The Milk Boys are fighting somebody. Okay, so I don't know anything about the Milk Boy. I watched the episode with Trump on the Milk Boy, so I don't really understand what that aspect is. Hopefully they really get into it a little bit more. But why are they fighting Jake Paul? Is it like on the street, literally a street fight? But what's going on here? I don't understand.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad because
Yeah.
I'm getting myself into a position here. They really are.
Yeah.
They did. Dana White, who's fantastic
Yeah.
for sure.
She-
He said,
yes.
"Would you do the Nelk Boys?" I didn't know who they were. I did it, and they have a tremendous audience, which you can
Ferocious.
Yeah.
tell right away. I did Dr. Phil the other day.
I saw it.
Yeah, he was
Amazing.
great.
We
No, he
love
was
the Nelk Boys, by the way. The Nelk Boy we're talking about is like it's kind of like
His name's Bradley Martin. He's a big fitness
Right.
guy because we know Kyle Forgard, Kyle, and John Shahidi for
Right?
years
Absolutely.
now.
They're
But
great.
Bradley's this big 260-pound, bodybuilder, and for years he's called people out. I'm 260. I'll fight you, and got into it with Logan.
And how did it work out?
How you think, Mr. President?
I think you probably did pretty good. I've watched enough of you fight.
It was off camera. It was cool. It was like a duel, like a good old fashioned, just boys being boys, no cameras.
It was a real deal.
The real deal.
And
No rules.
was he finished?
He quit.
He did.
He quit. He quit. What? Okay, this is crazy. Okay, so how do you challenge somebody to a fight and then quit? What?
We're very impressed with him. Actually,
He showed up.
He has no combat sports experience.
Yep.
Stepped
So
up
he
to
just
somebody.
had he had muscle, but not the.
Yep.
Just no training.
Yeah.
Just no training.
You ever been in a fist fight, Mr. President?
Probably not.
Imagine who's he gonna fight? Sleepy Joe on stage? That would be actually entertaining. We should actually do that instead of debates. We have a duel instead of a duel. Wait, not a duel. Just a fight. Let's get them into the octagon. Let's see. And then we have Deanna White over here, and then we have Joe Rogan over here. They're narrating. They're like, get in there. And then Sleepy Joe's like, that would be hilarious. That should happen. We need to make that happen. Netflix, pick it up.
Like little duels, nothing like. I mean, I'd like to say, I fought my way through school.
Right.
I fought my way out of the Wharton School of Finance. But we didn't have a lot of fighters.
Yeah.
We have fighters, but not that kind of fighters. But I've had a lot of fun. I'll tell you, we had a great time. Over the years, I've been very much involved with Mike Tyson. Mike is a great guy. My son, I have a beautiful boy, Baron, and he loves Mike Tyson.
Big boy. Big boy.
He's huge.
Yeah,
He's a big
he
boy.
he is really tall. You see pictures of him, and he's just completely towering over Trump. It's funny because 4 years ago, when we saw, or in 2016, you see the difference, and then Barron is so short compared to Trump, and then now Barron is over towering Trump. It's just crazy seeing this in live time over 8 years or so.
6'9".
6'9".
6'9".
Oh, my
yeah.
PDF's
Wow.
at 6'7".
And I couldn't get him to play basketball. He plays soccer. He's a good athlete too. Good student.
Big
good
boy
athlete.
for soccer.
But he's 6'9".
It's insane.
Good looking guy, but he is a tall one. There's no question. I say, Baron, I don't want to take a picture next to you. It's
Neither do we.
Crazy. We ought to make him a fighter, maybe.
No, I don't want. Always see you at the UFC fights.
Yeah.
So you're obviously a fight fan.
I like it. I really enjoyed it. I think Dana White is one of a kind.
For
He's
sure.
and he's been generous to me. He's made a great statement about me the other day.
I saw that.
That was a nice statement.
Well, because
but
you've
I
had
said-
his back for.
Well,
since,
I did, and rightfully. I think, the expression "everybody's replaceable." I'm not sure anybody could do the job he does is unbelievable.
Yeah.
No,
He
and
gets
especially because of the fact that Dana White does not care about the politics of the fighters. He doesn't get in the way of that. He said, "No, listen, they're gonna talk their shit. They're gonna talk to each other. They're gonna go back and forth. They can say whatever they want pre-fight. I'm not gonna go and control other people's speech." Dana White is so powerful for that because he does not cave into any of the woke business. The only thing that I would say about Dana White is that he teamed up with Bud Light, but Bud Light is a corporation that, yes, has been in America for a long time, but they betrayed a lot of people's trust by teaming up with a person, Dylan Mulvaney, they teamed up with last year. They lost billions of dollars worth of money from it, and then they decided to make it all right by paying one person hundreds of millions of dollars. That's Dana White in UFC. They thought that it was going to make it all right, but it's not. It's not going to make anything all right. I would never buy Bud Light. I'm 20 years old. From the time that I can actually buy drinks, I will never buy Bud Light. I tell all of my family members not to buy Bud Light either. None of my family members even like Bud Light, so it didn't really take a lot of convincing to get them off of Bud Light. But let's just say if we needed something cheap for a clam boil or lobster boil, we would just not get Bud Light. We're just gonna get something else. We used to just get Bud Light because it's cheap. We're not really gonna taste it. It's just more of the flavor that we need. We're just not gonna get Bud Light. Every single time we need something, we're not gonna get Bud Light. We're just gonna get something else. It's not that hard.
Khabib, who's
I saw that.
29-0, and his father died, and he just said, "That's it for me." And his father was great at what he did, and probably he never lost even a round. I think 29-0. They say he never lost a round, and I thought he was great. And we got to speak. He was just about my favorite guy, and really talented. The Strickland was fantastic the other night. I thought he was
Great striker.
He was.
Everyone wants to come out of the cage and meet you after they
They
win.
do.
And
Yeah,
when-
they
and when
do.
you-
I'm very honored by it. Every time they win, they jump out.
Yeah.
They jump out of that cage like it's nothing. I don't know. It's pretty high, but they have no problem.
And when you enter the arena, there's an eruption of cheers.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember, because I've been going to UFC for a while, like it wasn't always like that. There was a very clear shift in the perception of you. Do you feel like you feel that now more than ever?
I don't know. I've done it in Vegas, Miami. I do it with Dana. Dana wants me to do that, and I do it. And it is an eruption. He said like he's never heard before. They actually stopped a fight. One of the fighters were walking out, and there's a fight going on, and these guys are really going at it, and they heard this crazy sound, and they stopped the fight. They both stopped fighting. They're looking over what happened. They probably thought bad things were happening to the arena. But no, it's been great, and he is just somebody you have to really respect. I imagine you guys do, but he gets these fighters from all over the world, and they are some really talented people, and I have respect for fighters. When you can take 200 shots to the face and then look forward to the second round.
Yes.
It's interesting. A lot of wrestlers want to do the UFC thing, but they can't take the shots because they're wrestlers. I've been with a lot of them, and because at the White House we honor the national champion wrestlers and tennis players and sort of everything. We have these, but speaking to the wrestlers, some of them, there's somebody named Bo Nickel who I think is going to be great. He's a fighter.
Fantastic.
He was a All-American, I think probably 4 years. I'm not even sure ever. He went to Penn State, and he's phenomenal as a fighter, and you'll be watching him. But he doesn't mind. If he gets hit, he doesn't mind. Some people don't want that.
Speaking of conflict and fighting, since you left office, the number of global conflicts has skyrocketed. And I know
it's
Khabib
terrible.
talked to you about it quickly when you spoke with him. I think 2 weeks ago about President Biden authorized the use of American weapons in Russia, which has now led to
Not good at all. And this did not end in anything good whatsoever, because now Russia's not looking at the United States as a ally. They're more looking at the United States as an enemy. So thank you, Joe Biden. We could get nuked any day now.
a fleet of Russian warships coming towards Cuba this week. What are your thoughts and concerns around our current handling of our relationship with Russia?
Well, the Russian attack on Ukraine would have never happened if I were president. Would have never happened. It's just a shame. So many dead people. You look at just the soldiers. It's 500,000 soldiers between the both countries. But so many dead people, so many towns and villages and buildings and magnificent culture just being wiped out. You okay over there?
Stuff's falling
Yes,
over.
sounds good. Nice book, by the way. Nice book.
That's
We'll
his
get
book.
to that.
That's his book
Mine.
about overcoming drug
promote it.
addiction.
It's a
gotta make
bestseller about the opiate epidemic, which
Oh,
we'll
that's
talk, we'll
good.
talk about.
Wow,
after.
that's a great topic because it's so sad to see what's happening. So bad, but it's a shame because it never would have happened. And it didn't happen during my 4 years. It didn't happen. It wouldn't have happened. I got along very well with Putin. I got along with Zelensky, but it wouldn't have happened. And October 7th would have never happened. And inflation would have never happened. And
100%. And I believe him when he says this. A lot of people are like, oh, no. How do you know that Trump is going to make sure that this doesn't happen? Well, he was going to sign the Abraham Accords. He was going to make sure that Hamas was not actually empowered. And then he was going to make sure that Iran was not going to get billions of dollars worth of funding to actually fund Hamas. And then make sure that Hamas is going to be the terror of the region. That's all the proxies of Iran. Gaza and all of the other proxies of Iran are going and attacking Israel now. But if Israel had other allies in the region, like Saudi Arabia and a few other countries that were going to sign the Abraham Accords, which actually Trump made sure that that was going to go through in his presidency, it was close to being signed. Joe Biden came in and ruined the whole entire plan. If Joe Biden did not ruin that, then October 7th would have never happened because Hamas would have never had the power to overthrow the soldiers that are in the IDF in protecting Israel. They would have never had the manpower to do that and the funding to do that and the backing of Iran if they never got all of the funding, if they never got any of this. So yes, 100% this would have never happened. Russia and Ukraine, Russia would have never invaded Ukraine because of the fact that Russia, Putin, the dictator of Russia, knows that if he was to do something, Trump is not going to be so friendly to Putin anymore, and he's going to go and attack Putin. So we knew that right away. He said, do not invade Ukraine an inch. Joe Biden says, well, if you go on the corner, then it doesn't really matter. And then Putin said, oh, okay, no problem. I'll go and do that. So all that Joe Biden needs is one more invasion abroad, and he's done for. If we see Taiwan get invaded by China, Joe Biden is done. He had so many failures under his presidency. We had the failure of the Afghanistan withdrawal. We had the failure of October 6th. October 6th. And then that resulting in so many different things in the aspect of overnight invasion of Israel on October 7th. So overnight from October 6th to 4 o'clock in the morning on October 7th. And then we see the invasion of all these other countries. Ukraine, we see all of these other things collapsing, like inflation and stuff like that. The stock market doing record bad. It's just crazy. A failure all around. And then Joe Biden's like, well, what do I do? Well, give out free money to one-time house buyers in the family. Well, the thing is, you can't buy out your votes. You cannot say, well, young people, if you vote for me, I'm going to make sure that you don't have any more student debt. Well, that may work for some people, but other people that have families actually care about the outcome of our country and make sure that we have a longevity and we have actual good inflation numbers. Our money's actually worth something. And we have a president that can complete a sentence without going up the stairs and tripping. So yeah, if we have some thoughts on how Joe Biden gave it his all, quote unquote, and actually governed America, yes. And if we actually have a thought process of Trump doing a little bit better, if not a lot better than what Joe Biden is doing, yes, that's 100% true. And that it's factual. It's not an opinion, it's factual.
Withdrawal, the kind of withdrawal, we were getting out of Afghanistan with dignity and strength, but to get out the way, I think it was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. And I actually think that the way Afghanistan worked, I think that when Putin looked at that, he said, wow, let's go in. And you know who else looked at it? President Xi of China.
Yeah.
And he is looking at Taiwan, and he's drooling. He's drooling over Taiwan.
He is.
And so something could happen there. We've lost a lot of respect. They're laughing at us all over the world. That wasn't happening 4 years ago.
And with you back in office, you think we'll get that respect back?
Yeah, we'll get it back. We'll get it back.
What's your relationship like with Vladimir Putin?
I think very good, but I was tough with him. I ended the pipeline. He built, it's called Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2 until I got involved. And it was the biggest project ever done in Russia. I mean, this was a pipeline that was going to supply oil and gas to all over Europe, Germany in particular. And I said, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to Germany? I said, we're defending you under NATO, and you're paying billions of dollars a month to Russia. You mean we're defending you, and you're giving the people we're defending you from, we're giving you the defense, but you're giving them money at massive amounts? Probably the biggest project, most important, one of the most important projects they've ever done. I ended it. It was dead. It was gone. And then this guy comes in and he approves it, but he kills Keystone. The Keystone XL.
Yep.
So it's sad. But Putin said to me, it's the biggest thing. You ended it. You ended the pipeline. He said, they all say you and I are friendly, but I'd hate to see you as an enemy. But this was the biggest, this was massive amounts of money and everything.
But that's
else.
how you talk
But
to him
Biden
like
came
that?
in, huh?
You talk to him like that?
Oh, no, I had a very good relationship. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. And I'm trying to tell people, no, it's a good thing. They've got, I would give you the exact number, but they gave a lot, just under 2,000 nuclear weapons, and we do also. And when you have nuclear weapons, and even if you don't have nuclear weapons, getting along is good, but be the tough one, be the smart one, get along is good. I tell the press all the time, no, the fact that I get along with Kim Jong-un, North Korea.
That's crazy.
President Xi.
That's crazy.
It's all good stuff getting along, but nobody ever took money out of China like me. I took hundreds of billions of dollars out in the form of tariffs and taxes. No other president took not 10 cents. And, China built their military because of the United States. The United States was giving them hundreds of billions of dollars a year in excess flow. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. But we took out hundreds of billions of dollars from China, and I still got along with President Xi until COVID. That was a breaking point. But no, but he was a guy that I respected. He liked me, and I liked him. That's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Of course, and it's not what the media portrays it as. Oh, Trump is in Putin's pocket. No, what is going on is that there's an actual relationship, so they can get things done, and they can actually, go together and say, well, listen, if you do this, then we're not going to be friendly to each other. But if you are friendly to me, then we're going to say, listen, we're not going to tariff on imports coming from your country. We're going to allow you to be part of our monetary system and stuff like that. That's a really good benefit for other countries throughout the world because the United States dollar is a dominant dollar. But the thing is, if you're not so friendly to people like this, then you don't have any upper hand. And of course, when you're friendly to other world leaders, you can make sure that there's more peace. You can make sure that if you're friendly towards them, then they'll be friendly towards you. Saudi Arabia can now provide us more oil and stuff like that. We get a lot of our oil, then we refine and turn it into gas and stuff like that from Saudi Arabia. So yeah, being really friendly to other world leaders, that's not being in their pocket. That's going and being a leader. That's leading the country to a more flourishing future. And that's making sure that there's not so many conflicts all abroad because they're friendly towards you. And if they're not friendly towards this other country, which is an ally of America, then you're not going to be friendly towards them anymore. So yeah, talking to them harshly, but actually making them realize that we're here for each other at the end of the day, then that is going to be more flourishing than anything else that you can possibly do.
Says, oh, isn't it, you say, yeah, he's a leader, he's a smart guy. They say, smart man. They say, oh, Trump said he was smart. Yeah, he leads 1.4 billion people. It's a little bit on the smart side, but I got along with him. I got along with Kim Jong Un. That would have been a nuclear war if Hillary Clinton had gotten in office. We would have been in a nuclear war with North Korea. He was ready for it. When I was with him, nobody else could meet him. All of a sudden, the dam broke, and we started talking a little bit. We got together, as you know, twice. Got along very well, but we were in no danger from them, and we were in serious danger before I got there. I'm telling you, you would have had a nuclear war if Hillary Clinton got in.
I'm so curious, like, what this conversation with really powerful world leaders looks like behind closed doors. Like, is it candid, or do you exercise grace, or you talk like boys?
Everyone's different. No, but everyone's different. It's like when you're talking to people, when you're doing interviews with people, when you're fighting people, they're all different. You know, you fight them a different way, you talk to them a different way, but everyone's different. But I had very good relationships with everyone. The funny thing is I got along with the tough ones much better than I got along with the weak ones. You had some real weak ones too. I didn't get along with them as well. It's strange. Must be a personality defect.
It's probably a good thing.
Huh?
It's probably a good thing that you get along with
I get along with the tough
leaders of
ones.
the largest countries.
You know, there's a very tough one, Viktor Orban, and he's the prime minister of Hungary. And he said that the reason the world is blowing up because Trump isn't president. When Trump was there, everybody respected Trump. He said was afraid of Trump. I don't want to use that term because that's, I don't want to say, oh, they were afraid, like a child would say. But they respected me. But he said everyone listened to Trump. They were afraid of Trump. They couldn't figure Trump out, and they all listened. And they did listen. And we had no wars. We had no nothing. I defeated ISIS, got rid of the biggest terrorists ever, maybe, or just about ever. But we defeated, think of that, we knocked out ISIS, 100% of the ISIS caliphate, and started no wars. I wasn't in any wars. Now, that I don't know how you may feel about that because you're a warrior, right? Because all fighters, and you're a real fighter, by the way.
It's not good. It's not good. I don't shy away from conflict. My fiance has a problem with it.
Yeah.
It's not good. You're much more diplomatic than I probably would be.
It's very interesting though. So Khabib came up to me after the fight the other night. And, you guys would probably say he's the best ever, maybe. And, probably, certainly he probably is, and are very close, right? John Jones, a lot of people say.
I'd say 1 and 2.
And, and he said to me, oh, I hope you can get in because we have to stop the wars. We have to stop the killing. He was so smart. He understood it. And I think he's friends or was friends, but I think he is friends with Putin very much.
Yeah.
But he said, we have to stop the killing, and it's true. And I think I'd have that war stopped if I was president-elect. Right after the election, if I win, I will get that war stopped. I'll get it stopped fast before I get to office. If it's not stopped before then.
Talking about Russia, Ukraine.
I'm talking about Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah, of course. So the thing is, with Trump, as soon as he gets in there, I don't know if Putin is going to want to do this. See, this is the very approach too, because of the fact that we already separated Russia from everything else. Does Russia really have an incentive to even listen to Trump, even though he was really kind towards Trump? They had a really good relationship. Is this relationship still going to last? Is this going to be something that is still ongoing when Trump gets back in there? Or is this something that's going to be all ruined because of what Joe Biden did to America and America's respect across the world? So that's a very interesting approach here. And it's a very, very interesting take because, yes, Trump had a massive amount of respect throughout the whole entire world. But the thing is, are we going to still have this respect? Are we still going to have massive amounts of world leaders looking up to America instead of what they're doing now and laughing at America? So I really hope that Trump can stop this abroad. But I don't have a lot of respect for the people that are in our government right now. And I think that they ruined a lot of relationships that we had abroad. And that's very, very sad. It is, because I think that Trump is going to dominate as soon as he gets into the presidency. Yes, 1,000%. And I think that he's going to take control of the situation like he's always done. But the thing is Putin going to listen to him? That's going to be the major question. If this far in the war, 3 years in the war already, does Putin just want to stop the war? Does Zelensky want to stop the war too? This can all be solved if there's a carrot and a stick. If you say this and this and this is going to be where it is and you need to stop fighting, then yeah, if you get in there and you take control, no more funding to Ukraine and no more funding and no more playing around with Russia. You get what you get and you get what you get, and you need to go to your people and say, that's it, blame it on me. But the thing is, you need to stop the conflict. That's what we need to do at the end of the day.
We'll get it stopped.
On the
so
flip
many
side-
people are being killed. Far more people are being killed. And I thought it was great when Khabib came up to me and he says, we've got to stop all of the killing in the world. He's a very smart guy, very interesting guy. We talked for a while.
On the flip side, or on the other side of the continent, the Gaza situation has been
Horrible.
big news over the past year or so. The United States has always been, and you were always a staunch ally of Israel. Has your sentiment on Netanyahu or on his regime changed at all in light of any of the events of the past 6 months?
No, look, it was a shame that it should have never happened. It would have never happened. Iran was broke when I was president. Nobody was allowed to buy oil. Nobody was allowed to buy anything. They were broke. A Democrat congressman on Deface the Nation, the show Deface the Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Deface the Nation, yes.
Yeah.
Commonly known as Face the Nation.
It's true, because Face the Nation is not what it used to be. It's not something that Americans looked up to anymore. It's something that is completely lost all ground in reality and just takes upon itself to just push the narrative into whatever it wants. It's sad. It's Defaced the Nation.
But I don't call it that.
You have a name
I
for
think I have a more.
Yeah,
I have a
literally,
name for
he does.
everything. I'll
He
end up
does.
with a name for you two guys by the time. But it'll be,
I can't wait to hear
No,
mine.
they'll be good names. They'll be good names. But so he was on the show and he said, whether you like Trump or not, Iran was broke during Trump's. They would have made a deal within 1 week, and now they have $250 billion. We would have had a deal done literally in 1 week after the election. And it was ready. They were absolutely, and they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They were broke, stone cold broke. Now they have $250 billion. Biden took off all of the sanctions. He let them go. China went to town. I told China, if you buy 1 barrel of oil from these people, you're not doing any business with the United States. They took a pass, no oil, and other countries likewise. And we would have had a deal. Would have been a great deal for everybody. We would have had a deal. Now they have $250 billion. They made it all in 3 years, 3.5 years. They made it all during this Biden term.
Of course.
I mean, he gave him $6 billion for 5 hostages, right? You saw that recently, a couple of months ago. $6 billion for 5 hostages. He made the swap. The Prince of Terror, they call him. He's the best arms dealer ever, they say. Who knows what that means, but he was a great arms dealer. For the basketball player that wouldn't stand up during the national anthem, she thought that was a good time to tie her sneakers.
Yeah, no, it's just stupid, because all the excuses in the world that she could have for not standing up for the national anthem, you need to respect this country before your country can respect you. It's not what your country can do for you, it's what you can do for this country. I forget who said that, but that's a really positive quote that we need to remember, especially now, because of the fact that this country was going to constantly do things for American citizens, but are the American citizens constantly going to do things for the country? No. It's always going to be the opposite. Oh, pay for me, pay for me, pay for this, pay for that. No, you need to start doing stuff for this country, and the least thing that you could possibly do is stand for the national anthem. If you don't stand for the national anthem, this country is not going to be the first one to do something for you to give respect to this country. No, you are born here. You're an American of this country. Start respecting this country for your country to start respecting you. And yeah, we 1000% should not have traded just one person for an arms dealer. We should have just said, listen, there's a reporter that you still have locked up. Give us him and give us the basketball player, and then we can see what we can work out afterwards. We're not going to give you the arms dealer. We're going to maybe give you 2 citizens that we have locked up for, or maybe not citizens, but people that we have locked up that are causing terror, but not so badly as the arms dealer. So yeah, we could have did something a little bit less than that. We could have gave some other stuff like that. We could have made the trade. But the thing is, you don't give somebody an arms dealer for a basketball player that does not respect this country. It's sad. It really is pathetic.
That was not exactly the greatest trade.
No.
But he gave $6 billion on top of everything. $6 billion with a B. And they don't know what they're doing. And when you do that, when you start paying that kind of money, a lot of other people are going to be missing all of a sudden. They're going to be missing and, hey, let's make a trade. And that's already happening. You just can't do that. I got 58 people out. We never paid any money. 58 people, 58 hostages. We never paid money. Because once you pay money, you're going to be doing a lot. In other words, you're going to keep doing it. So you can't do that.
This episode is sponsored by myself. I sponsored it myself. Primex, guys. We just dropped Primex. This is our biggest on the website. Matt Pieces. Excuse me. The point I want to ask about money. Money in this country.
Go ahead.
I've had a very fortunate career.
Yeah.
I've made some money. And
more money than you ever thought possible.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah, I know. I know the
Absolutely.
kind of money you make because I know when you have a top event and your shows, but these events are doing fantastically.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
you've done is incredible.
Yeah, I'm very blessed, and part of the reason that I believe I'm blessed is because of this country.
Yeah.
And I think in a way I'm kind of living like the modern day American dream. I had access to a phone and could start my business and reach the entire world on this device. So
Excuse me, did you guys start like separately?
me and Jake?
Yes.
Nah, together.
Oh, you started together.
Together on YouTube.
And did you branch out? You each have your own thing?
Well, eventually, because I went to college. Jake was still in high school. He ended up dropping out. I finished my first year.
It's an amazing 2 stories, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Who makes more money?
It depends on the year. It depends if Jake has
I want to
fights.
ask you a little question.
and it depends on when this sells right here.
Yeah. I think.
Is that your new drink? Oh, that's good. Oh, well,
yeah.
If you make it, I like it.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President.
No, it's got to be good. It's got to be. Look, something's propelling him to fight world champions to a draw, right?
Yeah. We actually made this American
that's
Prime
beautiful.
special
Wow.
for this episode. It's a hydration beverage.
It's doing fine, doing well.
We did 1.2 billion last year.
That's great.
Year 2.
That's fantastic.
But I'm blessed to have even just be able to say that is insane. But my question is for other young people in this country who are looking to get ahead, because for a lot of them times are tough right now.
It's very tough.
What would you say to them, kids who want to pursue their own version of the American dream and try to achieve their wildest dreams and make it all come true?
I would say very simply, honestly, vote for Trump.
Okay, so I don't know what he's gonna say next, but the thing is, for the middle class people, he's going to sit here and say, listen, you don't have to pay taxes on tips anymore. That's saving the average American millions of dollars, not the average American, but average Americans broadly, millions of dollars per year in taxes. That's great. Even if you save $1,000, or let's just say I did the calculations on the show, on this week's episode of the show, the average person is going to save about $5,000 per year just based off of this no longer being a thing. Taxes on tips is no longer going to be a thing. So let's just say if you make $1,000 a week, you're charged on that. Let's just say you get charged 3%. So let's do the calculations once more. If you go in, so let's just say if you make you make $1,000 a week, and then you have to times that by 52, and then that's $52,000 a year. That's the average that people are going to be making. Let's just say that when you go and you pay taxes, you're going to pay a tax rate of 0.3%. So that's $1,500 right there. So let's just say the average American is going to save $1,500. There's 350 million Americans, but obviously not all of them are going to be working as waiters and waitresses. But let's just say that there's 100 million Americans that are going to be waiters and waitresses here. $100 million divided by, $1,000 divided by the 100 million waiters and waitresses. That's $66 billion, even more than that the average Americans are going to be saving throughout their taxes all together. So that's a huge savings on taxes. So yeah, people need to start realizing that Trump is going to be starting to save them more money. If you have a problem with the amount of money that you're paying in taxes, if you have a problem with all of the other aspects of reality in America and paying taxes and stuff like that, then vote for Trump and you're going to be saving a lot of money.
Biden, you're never going to do it. This country's going to hell.
Yeah.
Vote for Trump. You know, we're doing great with youth. We're doing great with African Americans, with Hispanic Americans, through the roof, both of those groups, with women, with men, and with young people, we're doing very well. But I say vote for Trump. If you don't have the right guy in the lead, the country's not going to, you know, if the country doesn't do well, it's much harder to do even what you do, okay? Even what you do. So that would be a simple message. I really mean it, actually.
The same opportunities he's had in America, I've had as well. My road has been a little bit rockier, as we were talking about in my book, The Fifth Vital. I spent 8 years addicted to heroin, living on the East Coast. In what I considered, you know, I think a lot lot of people considered.
So you were addicted.
Correct.
Wow.
I think a lot of people consider it to be the great opiate
Let me
epidemic.
see the book. Can I see the book?
Absolutely.
We're gonna make this sucker a best-selling book.
There's a message. There's a message for you.
No,
in it
it's
as well.
such an important.
It's actually
Where's
already
my camera?
it's already a
Go
best-selling
out and
book.
buy this book. It's great.
That was for you, I believe.
I wrote a message to you in
Good.
there. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to
It's-
keep it.
Thank you
but
so much.
it's such an important topic. Yeah, seriously, that's so important.
There's a lot of people that are still kind of wrapped up in that world. And I just want to
Yeah.
ask you some questions. In 2023, the DEA sees more than 80 million fentanyl-laced fake pills, and 12,000 pounds of fentanyl powder. There's so many people out there on the streets right now without access to resources with mental health care, rehabilitation centers.
Yeah.
What's your plan to continue to stem the flow of fentanyl into the country, as well as help the people who have already fallen victim to the opiate epidemic?
So when I took over, you know, it was drug infested. When I ran in 2016, I ran on the border. And I fixed the border, and I couldn't even use it in 2020 in the campaign, even though I got millions of more votes than I got the first time. I couldn't talk about the border because I fixed it. And I'd say to my people, I want to talk about the border. I was proud of the job we did. We had it fixed. It was really in good shape. And drugs were at the lowest point in years. And, you know, not only people, drugs, human trafficking, which is such a horrible thing. You think of it as like an ancient kind of a crime, and it's bigger now than ever before because of the internet. You know, the internet has made a lot of these things much bigger than they have ever been. When you think of human trafficking, mostly in women, by the way, people don't know that, mostly in women, where they put them in trunks of cars, they have compartments. It's so horrible. And I had it down to to the lowest level, just about, I guess, in recorded times. So what you have to do is you have to be very tough on that. We had a deal on the fentanyl is pouring through. I bought millions of dollars worth of equipment. Believe it or not, they call it sniffing equipment, but believe it or not, the best thing to find it, you can spend millions of dollars on equipment and machinery to find drugs coming through, like, you know, sort of finds it. The best thing is a German Shepherd born in a certain
dog.
Do you know
Sure.
that?
No way.
Oh, they're unbelievable.
Yeah.
They go right to it. It's not even, there is no machine. You know, you spend $2.5 million for machinery, and the dog is much better.
More dogs.
And we literally
Yeah.
bred those dogs. It's a very specific type of German Shepherd from a certain part of the world. It's the most incredible thing. We worked very, very hard on that. I was with President Xi. It comes from China and it comes in through the southern. So Mexico's it comes through the southern border. And I was with President Xi, and I told you we got along great. You know, the COVID was a step too far as I was concerned, but we got along great. And I said, "Do you have a drug problem?" He said, "No, they give the death penalty in China. If you sell drugs," I said, "I'd like you to give the death penalty to people that are making fentanyl and sending it over to our country." And he was going to do that. And then we had the election result. And of course, Biden never picked up that conversation.
Of course, because Joe Biden does not care. He's going to say here all he wants. He's going to say this in this debate too and say, well, my son had an addiction just like a lot of families do, that just like he did in the former debate that they had together. But the thing is, he does not care. He showed us that he does not care about the drug problem. You're going to sit here and say, oh, I cared about my son Hunter's drug problem, and I care about you, the American people's drug problem too. Who's with me? Nobody's with you because you didn't fix the problem whatsoever. You made the problem worse. You opened up the border. You made sure that fentanyl is coming across our border every single day, and you're not doing anything to stop it. It's pathetic. You're going to sit here and say one thing out of your mouth, but then you're going to act a total different way. You're not doing anything to fix the drug problem. You're not caring about the Americans that are addicted. You're not caring about actually stopping the problem at hand. What you are worried about is just the facade of you acting like you care about the problem here. Your son Hunter, Joe Biden's son Hunter, was addicted to crack and addicted to all of these other drugs, to the point that he thought the Parmesan cheese inside of the rug was crack for him to sniff. That's not a good thing. And that's what a lot of people are addicted with. And that's what Joe Biden's not realizing, that through his policies, he's making it so other people can be addicted now. He's making sure that. So if he does care about the border, he does care about the drug problem, like he says that he does, then why is he not acting on this? Because he really does not care whatsoever. That's the thing.
Going to give the death penalty. If he did that, you would have had this literally stopped, almost stopped. But we have to be very, very strong at the border. This is a plague like, and you know the numbers, they'd say 70,000, 80,000. I think it's probably 250 or 300,000. This is like a war. There's rarely a war. I mean, how many wars are we losing? 300,000 people a year. And everybody knows a family. I know many families where their children die and they're not even addicted. They take a pill that's unrelated, and it's got a little bit of fentanyl. They say you can take the head of a needle, and you just put a piece on it, and that's enough to kill like 10 people. It is a really horrible thing. And I would have had China giving the maximum penalty. They would not have been sending it. And I had a deal worked out with President Xi, but of course, Biden didn't follow up, just like he didn't follow up on the Abraham Accords, which would have been a great thing to do.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying here. Joe Biden completely failed on multiple fronts because he had all of these opportunities of a lifetime to actually fix the problems at hand. But he refuses to fix the problems at hand, and then he blames the problems on other people. No, the problems that we have now are not on other people's hands, on other people's name. It's on your name, Joe Biden, because you're the one that caused the problem, and you're the one that refuses to fix the problem. It's disgusting. What are you doing?
You have to be very tough on the border, and that includes drugs as well as people, as well as people not coming in from jails and prisons and mental institutions, which is happening now at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's crazy. How can it be good? It's so bad. And I guess they're either stupid, which they're not, they hate our country, or they want to get these people for votes. A lot of people think that's the thing. They want to get them for votes. But the destruction, the damage that Biden's done to our country by having 16, 17 million people already in, it's much more than they say. It's probably 17. It could be even higher than that in our country. And these are not people that are going to make America great again. These are people that have a lot of issues.
Because of the fact that they're going to vote for the liberals and vote for the leftists. That's exactly why they want to get these people into this country. It's disgusting. They know exactly what they're doing here. Exactly what the drug problem too. They know exactly what they're doing here. And they're acting like, oh, well, I don't know what we're doing. Yes, you do know exactly what's going on here.
We're going to have a lot of issues as long as they're here. And we're going to get them out. We have to get them out.
Mr. President, I got the 10-minute warning from the team, which is now 8-minute.
Let's let him go a little longer. It's fine. I like it. Is that okay? Let him go a little bit longer, okay? Look at these two guys. And then it'll turn out to be a lousy show, and I'll say, you were right, Jason. It'll be good. So go for another 20 minutes. Is that all right? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Jason.
It seems to be a nice flow, right? Let's go.
Well, you did reality TV.
I'll be in trouble with my people. Like Biden says, I don't have that problem, but... Well, first of all, he would never. He couldn't do this interview.
No.
You asked him questions like this?
No, we were talking about that. We were like,
we'd like to extend the invite to Joe Biden if he'd like to come on this podcast.
Yeah, I think he should. You know what chance you have of getting him on? I'd say less than 1%.
Yeah, literally.
Okay. If you did, that'd be interesting. I'd actually watch that one. Okay, see how long it lasted.
So there are two questions.
It would not last more than 10 minutes. I'll tell you that.
I have to ask.
Go ahead.
The first one's kind of fun. Aliens. I want to talk to you about aliens.
Yeah.
UFOs, UAPs.
I know.
The disclosure we've seen in Congress recently. It's confusing and upsetting a lot of Americans because there's something happening. There are unidentified aerial phenomena in the sky. We don't know what they are. Do you?
So it's such a question I do get a lot, and it's such an interesting question. I've met with pilots that look just like you, actually. Okay, they have more of a crew cut. Okay, they look like him and they look like you. Some of them look like you,
a little fatter.
But these are perfect people, and they're not crazy. Conspiratorial. They're not crazy. Yeah. And they tell me stories that they've seen things that you wouldn't believe. These are not people that you would say, gee, oh, that's
No
okay.
way. President of the United States.
But
I said, was your
who
phone
is it?
silent?
That's Joe Biden wanting to do an interview. So I met with pilots, like beautiful, Tom Cruise, but taller.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Handsome, perfect people. Sir, there was something there that was round in form and going like 4 times faster than my super jet fighter plane. And I look at these guys, and they really mean it.
Yeah.
And am I a believer? No, I can't say I am. But I have met with people that are serious people that say there's some really strange things that they see flying around out there. And, you know, if you go to Nevada and you look at that little section of where they go to look at the aliens, where they think all the aliens are landing, that, you know, it's I think it's maybe the number 1 tourist attraction in the United States.
Roswell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roswell. I think it's the number 1. It's the lines of people waiting. You have no idea how many times I'm asked that question.
But don't you have access to that information?
I have access, and I speak to people about it. I've had actually meetings on it, and they will tell you there's something going on. When they say things are going 4 times faster than my beautiful top-of-the-line airplane that goes, you know, real fast.
With no identifiable propulsion
Mach
system.
2,
Yeah.
right?
These things are creating their own gravity fields, allegedly.
Well, they have people that are very smart and very solid have said they believe there is something out there. And, you know, it makes sense that there could be. I've never been convinced, even despite that. You know, I just, for some reason, it's not my thing. But a lot of people believe that it's true. A lot of very good, solid people believe it's true.
What? And you
I know
have-
there are illegal aliens out there, but those are the ones that come through the border. We have
Yeah.
plenty of them. Those are the ones I know. When you say aliens, I say, are they illegal aliens? These might be illegal, but we don't want to test them.
Yeah.
Because if they can go 4 times faster, we're not going to test them.
No.
So it's an interesting question.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there a chance that one of these orgs is potentially hiding information from you about aliens?
I guess so. It's you have the deep state, and you do have a deep state, and certainly they could. But I don't think on this subject. I was interested in it because I've been asked so many times, and I talked to people that have said that they've, you know, it was a sighting, and it's very believable. It's very possible that there is something, and why wouldn't there be? You know, you take a look at the universe and you see all of the different planets, and you see this, you know, look, here we are on one relatively small planet. Why wouldn't there be on a planet that's, you know, 400 times the size? Why wouldn't there be somebody? So, you know, it's certainly believable to me.
The thought of it freaks me out. You know, it's weird to think that we potentially are only the source of life in like an infinite, ever expanding universe. But you know, technology.
But they'd never be able to take you in a fight.
No chance.
I'll bet on you.
No chance. Send me in.
I'll bet on you.
Send me in. Send me in, my brother. We'll handle it.
That's a good team.
And if we don't come back, I'm sure he will be happy about that too.
The 2 of you will come back and say hello. Say hello to him, by the way.
I will.
He's a great guy.
Maybe Elon could get you guys there. You a fan of
Elon
Elon Musk?
I think Elon might be good for this question. He's a terrific. You know, I looked at the ship that went up, the spaceship, and I never saw this before. I saw this is, you know, like 2 years ago. I see the motors coming down, the engines coming down, no wings, no anything, and then I say, what is going on?
Yeah.
And nobody ever saw that before. And if you didn't have him, you probably wouldn't be seeing it, you know. And I called him and said, what's that? He says, well, we want to be able to reuse the engines. I said, they don't have wings, they don't have anything, and they're landing on a platform in the middle of the ocean. I said, how cool is that? I thought I saw it all, but that was, no, he's a spectacular guy.
Well, I mean, between PayPal, Neuralink, Starlink, Tesla, SpaceX,
and other things.
Yeah, he's probably one of the greatest minds of our generation.
AI, very big, you know.
That's what I wanted to ask about.
Yeah.
It was the second question because, you know, technology is improving at a rapid pace.
That's right.
At a pace humanity's never seen before. And the most recent development in technology that is alarming but also cool is artificial intelligence, AI.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be eventually to a point where we're not able to tell what's real and what's
Yeah.
fake. The era of truth, I believe, is probably slowly, unfortunately, coming to an end, unless you come with receipts. What do you think the government's role in enabling, protecting, or governing AI should be in general? Should this superpower become what we believe it probably will be?
Well, it is a superpower, and you want to be right at the beginning of it, but it is very disconcerting. I said, you used the word alarming. It is alarming when I saw a picture of me promoting a product, and I could not tell. The voice was perfect. The lips moved perfectly with every word. The way you couldn't, if you were a lip reader, you'd say it's absolutely perfect. And that's scary. In particular, in one way, if you're the president of the United States and you announce that 13 missiles have been sent to, let's not use the name of a country, we have just sent 13 nuclear missiles heading to somewhere, and they will hit their targets in 12 minutes and 59 seconds. And you're that country, and there's no way of detecting. I asked Elon, is there any way that, like Russia or China, can say that that's not really President Trump? He said there's no way.
They'd have to rely on secondary first alert
No, they have to
systems.
rely on a code that if you don't have a certain code, who the hell's going to check? You got like 12 minutes. And
Yeah.
let's check the code. Oh, gee, how's everything doing? So what do they do when they see this, right? They have maybe a counterattack. It's so dangerous in that way. Okay. In another way, it's so incredible that what they do is so incredible. I've seen it. I just got back from San Francisco. I met with incredible people in San Francisco, and we talked about this. This subject is hot on their plates, the super geniuses.
Yep.
And they gave me $12 million for the campaign, which, 4 years ago, they probably wouldn't have. We had thousands of people on the streets. You saw it. It just happened this last weekend.
Yep.
I met with incredible people, actually. And this is what everyone's talking about with all of the technology. These are the real technology people. They're talking about AI. And they showed me things, but I've seen things that are so, you wouldn't even think it's possible. But in terms of copycat, now, to a lesser extent, they can make a commercial. I saw this.
Yeah.
They made a commercial, me promoting a product, and it wasn't me. And I said, did I make that commercial? Did I forget that I made that commercial? It is so unbelievable. So it brings with it difficulty, but we have to be at the forefront. It's going to happen. And if it's going to happen, we have to take the lead over China. China is the primary threat in terms of that. And what they need more than anything else is electricity. They have to have electricity, massive amounts of electricity. I don't know if you know that, in order to do these, essentially it's a plant. And the electricity needs are greater than anything we've ever needed before to do AI at the highest level. And China will produce it because they'll do whatever you have to do, whereas we have environmental impact people, and we have a lot of people trying to hold us back. But massive amounts of electricity are needed in order to do AI. And we're going to have to generate a whole different level of energy. And we can do it, and I think we should do it, but we have to be very careful with it, right? We have to watch it. But it's, the words you use were exactly right. It's the words a lot of smart people are using. There are those people that say it takes over the human race. It's really powerful stuff, AI. So let's see how it all works out. But I think as long as it's there, it
plays out.
And that's just AI. What about when it becomes SI or super intelligence?
Yeah. Then they'll have super AI, right? Super duper AI. But what it does is so crazy.
It's amazing.
It's crazy.
Now, it can also be really used for good. I mean, things can happen. I had a speech rewritten by AI out there, one of the top people. He said, "Oh, you're going to make a speech?" Yeah. He goes, click, click, click. And like 15 seconds later, he shows me my speech.
That's crazy.
Written.
That's crazy.
So beautifully. I said, I'm going to use this sucker. I'm going to use, I've never seen anything like it.
What'd you say to your speechwriter after that?
You're
You're
fired.
fired.
I said, "You're fired, Vince. Get the hell out of here." No. This was so crazy. it took it, and it made it unbelievable. And
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing too. And the government really needs to step in here and seeing exactly which fields it should go into and which fields it should not go into, because of the fact that obviously when it comes down to the porn manufacturing and stuff like that, if you're generating porn without people's consent, then that's going to be against the law and you should go to jail for that. Or if you're producing porn of underage children, there's already been people going to jail because of that aspect. And even though it is a fully generative thing and this child was never actually a child, stuff like that, it's still disgusting because you're creating it. The people that made the product should get charged, and all of the people that are in control of creating videos like that should be locked up in jail, because you're creating something that is disgusting. You're creating something that is against the law, because if you were to do this in real life, utterly disgusting, and we know that it's all bad. We know that for a fact.
it's and so fast. It's you just say, I'm writing a speech about these two young, beautiful men that are great fighters and sort of great at a lot of things, and tell me about them and say some nice things, and period. And then that comes out. Logan in particular is a great champion. Jake is also good. See, I'm doing that only because you happen to
appreciate
now.
that.
But no, it comes out with the most beautiful writing. So one industry I think that will be gone are these wonderful speechwriters.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it, and so quickly. A matter of literally minutes, it's done. So it's a little bit scary.
Well, as you said, let's see how this plays out. I did get the wrap it up because I do believe your team and I want to shoot a TikTok with you.
Oh,
Yeah, so of course they ended up doing that, and that ended up going viral again because Trump posted on his TikTok. Trump now has like 7 million followers on TikTok or something crazy like that. So of course, because now Trump has never really been on the mainstream platforms in such a long time, that TikTok is his first introduction to that. And then Twitter/X, he posted his mugshot on there and got millions and millions of views on there. So, of course, every single media platform that he goes on to, he just starts dominating on, because people know that he's not really on the mainstream platforms anymore. He's more on Truth Social. And, of course, Truth Social is so good. It's good, of course, but people only go on there for that, and it's a massive echo chamber. So if you want to reach an audience that you don't normally get, of course, it's not going to be the best thing that for you to be on, because there's not a lot of people that aren't already thinking the same way as you. You want to get the people that aren't thinking the same way as you, so you can influence their decisions and you can debate with them and have discussions along those lines. So I think that Twitter/X has the perfect clientele for both sides. And Twitter/X has been making revolutionary improvements to their software for live streaming videos, uploading, stuff like that. We upload all episodes on Twitter/X just in case YouTube was to go and ban my channel. I do have a backup on Twitter/X, and you can see unfiltered stuff like that. Sometimes YouTube says you can't talk about certain topics, especially during this election season. We will be posting all episodes that you cannot post on YouTube on X, that is fully uncensored and stuff like that, because YouTube has a lot of filters that they try to tell you what to say and what to not say. So that's going to do it for this reaction. I hope that you did enjoy this reaction video, because we will be reacting to the full entire debate, and I might be reacting to Dr. Phil's interview with Trump also in the coming weeks as well. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. If you do like my takes on things, I do post new episodes of my show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, and I hope they have a great rest of your day.